Earlier this week, I was lucky enough to do a photo shoot for the cover of a magazine. It was a glamorous affair, makeup, hairdressers and rows of beautiful dresses and shoes. I posted some unedited behind-the-scenes pictures on my social media, and I was shocked when the mum to an impressionable young girl responded to tell me that I need to eat, and apparently my image was not cool. Girls and boys are now growing up permanently surrounded by images of the perfect body and life. But more often than not, these photographs are edited. But more often than not, the kids don't realise that as they strive to achieve the impossible perfection. The line between real life and fantasy is getting increasingly blurred. And in France, there are proposals to make it mandatory to disclose digital enhancements in photographs. And I could not agree more. I don't mind anybody being assisted in looking good, but I do mind when it's deliberately hidden.
Can I just point out, for the benefit of my fellow pledgers, that I note in those two pictures, one, you're waiting at the bar, and the second one, you have a drink in your hand. So we clearly know what sort of pictures they were. Look, you're probably right with this idea in front, but I don't think that you can necessarily lay the blame here at magazines or at newspapers. I would say that even before Vinken de Verde made the first newspaper about 400 years ago, just off Fleet Street, girls always wanted to have a certain shape. Some blokes probably always wanted to have a certain shape. I don't think it's a bad idea,
actually. The Nick Ferrari shape.
Yeah, the Nick Ferrari. Many people like it. It's in great shape. I don't think it's such a bad idea if you have the letter D or something at the bottom of a picture, if you want to show that it's been digitally enhanced. Yeah. But if you think that's going to solve the problems, and these are serious problems, and sometimes these are fatal problems, when kiddies take their lives, and not even children, actually, others take their lives, or they slim to ridiculously dangerous, perilous levels, it is not going to cure it all, Michelle. I'll tell you that for nothing. Don't just blame the press. I don't think it's going to cure it all. But what I think is we're in a situation now where so many people are dishonest about the fact that they're editing things and they're posting things online that have been often significantly edited. I mean, I understand some people are using these dating sites online. I'm not familiar with them at all, Michelle. But often I don't know whether I don't know whether you are. I've no idea, and it's none of my business. But they don't put up true representations of themselves. They don't put up true descriptions of themselves. They sometimes don't even put true bloody pictures of themselves. So you arrange to meet the person. You sit down in the restaurant. Dear God, who's this person?
Has that happened to you?
Do you know? I don't know how to.
Don't you?
I don't know how to. I get enough dates without it done. So there we go.
For full disclosure, I am on a dating site, and I would definitely not edit my pics.
But as a serious point, I've never understood why the modelling industry, I mean, looks anorexic. Whole lots of people look anorexic. And you think, why? I mean, it must be because, you know, going back to the debate about capitalism, it must be because it sells.
Yeah, it does.
But it's a pretty... Some of the pictures are pretty unpleasant, actually, I think.
No.
And on a serious note, there is growing pressure on young people now to look good, to be popular, to excel academically, to be thin, and you know,
wasn't it always there, Kat?
Yeah, there is.
No, but it's always been like that.
Well, yeah, but I think social media makes it worse.
Okay.
There's a lot of people talk about how you look. But let me finish this one point. Currently, there are 250,000 kids in this country receiving mental health treatment.
For eating disorders.
Yeah, for eating, well, just mental health issues generally.
What's a kid, 18 and below, is that?
Yes, right. and that is partly down to this expectation for them to look great.
I agree. And I think it's a weird one in the sense that I totally think this is necessary, and this is the debate that's been going on for years, and actually it's the sensible and responsible thing to do. But in a weird way, though, Michelle, I would add that I do think social media has made young people quite sophisticated in knowing the effects of filters and airbrushing, because they're now able to do it themselves on their phones. So unlike, let's say, when we were growing up, where you did believe those images were real, now I do think a lot of young people know that they're not. So I agree, we need the sort of marker that points it out, but I think the bigger issue here is as a society, we need to relook at our obsession with youth and thinness and slimming and all the things that we're obsessed with in the West. You know, my family are from Ghana, and the ideal figure in Ghana is a curvy woman. So we don't have the same issues around eating disorders in the same way, because all bigger sizes are celebrated, and I think that's what we need to look at.
I'm going to Ghana.
Girl, you'd be the hottest thing ever in Ghana. There's a slew of Ghanaian men lining up.
I remember being in Africa with my wife and the projects we do there, and they gave her this enormous plate full of food, of which she ate about a third. And the woman next to her said, "You're clearly not an African." And the whole thing. I ate a lot.
She was probably my mum.
Yeah.
But it's just about, I just think, be transparent, because I see too many people that have had, in my eyes, clearly had some work done, sitting on TV going, yeah, I've never had any work done, I just look like this naturally. No, I haven't edited that picture, I just look that naturally. No, I haven't borrowed this dress, it's mine, I've spent all this money on it. Yes, I am definitely on this holiday, whilst actually you're not, you just put yourself into that shot. And I just think, be transparent. Sometimes you look good, sometimes you look less good. You know, sometimes you're bigger and smaller, and it's all right.
But nobody's going to put a picture out of them looking rough.
No.
People just don't do that. None of us. We all put out pictures that other people think we're rough, and we think they're the good one.
I'm still waiting for a picture of me that isn't rough. If anyone's found one, please send it to the Pledge, care of Sky News.
When we were interviewing people in those not so in the distant past, I don't think I ever met a celebrity that I recognised, because you walk into the room and you go, "Oh, you!" There's no resemblance to any of the pictures we've seen. But yet, kids are aspiring to be like them. Kids are trying to be.
Well,
like
kids
them.
are doing it themselves on their phones, Carol. They now can. You know, all of the apps and stuff have
So
filters.
is the impact of social media totally negative, or are there some positives?
This is my point. I think it's negative in that we're now living in an age where people are obsessed with posting pictures, but it's positive because they know that actually those images aren't real. In that
Do you
sense.
think that they do?
I think they do.
I see people posting stuff that in my head is clearly a sponsored post, i.e. they're being paid to advertise something. And they're not disclosing that. They should be, but they're not always disclosing that.
But that's not what you're talking about here.
No,
you're talking about unattainable images. That's what you're talking about here, not promoting products.
No, I'm talking about, to
services.
your point, that actually people are social media savvy and can actually see through things that have been altered, edited,
I think
promoted.
they are when it comes to images. I think because now a 16-year-old girl knows that if she puts whatever filter on her picture, it makes her look better than the picture without the filter. It just does. So therefore, she's much more sophisticated than, let's say, somebody 20, 15 years ago.
You're going to have to show me how to do this.
I was just about to say, once we're finished, I'm going to have a word with you. I'm going to teach you how to look good in your photographs.
I hope you've got a lot of time on you. I'll tell you.
I'll try.
Won't be
We'll break
quick.
it into sections.